Good afternoon, Fifth Fam. This is Stefan, and today I'll be talking about how you can create flow state. Now, as we dive into this conversation, my first introduction to flow state was when I was preparing for my first powerlifting competition a couple years ago. And while I was preparing for this first competition, I wanted to win. I was extremely competitive, and so I really dove into every single minute detail of what I needed to do in order for me to be successful during this competition. And I would watch videos from high-level Olympic athletes, NBA, NFL players on what they do before game day. And what I realized and what I found out is that every single one of them, the high-level ones, the ones that win consistently and are able to consistently stay at that level, what I found was that all of them have their own unique process system, really a ritual that they do before their competitions. And when they engage in these rituals, it's almost as if they're sending a signal to their body neurologically that we're entering into periods of things that we've done before, and you need to lock in and focus and really engage in the movements that we've done before, but this is really done subconsciously. And so what I saw was I would see people, guys, men, women, and they would do, whether it be they had a certain movement they would do, they would listen to a certain song, they would eat a certain food, they would do a handshake with a specific person, and then they would immediately begin going into either it was their exercise, their competition, or their sport. And so I began to utilize this as well. And so I remember before my first powerlifting competition, one of the things that I did was my competition was on a Saturday. And so leading up to my competition date, every single Saturday, I would do the exact same thing. I would wake up in the morning, I would have 2 slices of pizza, I would have 2 donuts, I would have an energy drink, and then I would grab a jug of water, and then I would go to the gym. When I got to the gym, I would do the exact same stretching session. My warm looked exactly the same. And then I would go immediately into my competition style training. I would wear the exact same thing. I would listen to the exact same music, the exact same playlist. And so over a period of a couple of weeks, what I noticed would happen was I would stop thinking about what I was doing consciously. Everything I did became subconscious. I wasn't more so thinking and focused on, okay, what am I doing here? What am I going to eat? How much water am I drinking? What should my stretches be? How should I warm up? No, what I began to focus on was I began to more in tune and begin to be more in tune in what was my body doing in the present moment. And so what entering flow state will do for you is it will cause you to become more focused on the present moment. And so that'll help you because you'll be able to consciously manipulate your body in the way you want it to, especially if you're engaging in high intensity competitions or movement. Because when you're engaging in high intensity competition or movement, you want to really be focused and dial into every single thing your body is doing, because even the slightest mishap can cause you to mess up. Let's say you're a gymnast and you're on the balance beam and you have to do flips. If you're not extremely in tune into what your body's doing, one small mishap could have you falling off the beam and potentially hurting yourself. And so entering flow state, what it'll cause you to do is will increase your conscious awareness of what your body's doing, because every single thing else that's going on around you, you're not worried about because you already handled that. And so as I went into, and this was my first competition, as I went into my first competition in powerlifting, what I noticed was that I wasn't worried about anything. I wasn't worried about what I was eating. I wasn't worried about what I was wearing. All I was worried about was literally what I would do when I walked up on the platform. And even more so because I had placed my mind in the environment of a competitive state multiple times before. What I was able to do is I was able to weather the storm. I was talking to a family member, and they told me that every time they enter into competition, they play basketball, and they're engaging in the game starts. They always feel nervous. It's a lot going on. And what I told him was, when you're entering into high-level sports or competition, your body's entering a state of flight or fight because there's a lot of things going around. There's a lot of moving parts, and so your body's entering into a state of there's chaos going on all around you. And so with some of my clients, a analogy I love to use with them in order to help them deal with this pre-game anxiety or this during the game anxiety, what I would tell them is, imagine there's a hurricane, and in many ways, a competition is a hurricane. There's a lot of things going around. There's a lot of things you can't control, but the only thing you can control is yourself. And so this is another reason why entering into that flow state is very helpful. And so imagine there's a hurricane going around. This hurricane is destroying everything, and it's uplifting cars, it's tearing up houses, it's destroying everything. But in the middle of that hurricane is a storm. It's the eye. And so really, entering flow state will help you be the eye in midst of the storm. It'll help create peace for you because you've dealt with everything else. You know, okay, I'm safe as long as I deal with myself.